This is what's great about sports. This is what the greatest thing about sports is. You play to win the game. Hello? You play to win the game.
Winning isn't everything, but it's the only thing. In our business, there is no second place. Either you're first or you're last.
Ain't this what they've been waiting for? You ready?
And now, the W with Walls and the crew.
Good morning.
Where winning isn't everything, it's the only thing. On 100.1 FM.
Good morning.
And Facebook Live.
Good morning. Good morning. Right back like we never left. Another Saturday morning with the W Show, Kansas City, talking sports and pop culture. If this is your first time checking out the W Show, we appreciate it. Thank you for making us a part of your Saturday morning. You're listening to us on 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, and our social media pages. No, good morning, man. How was your week?
It was good, man. It was very good. Lots of basketball. So very, very excited. Very excited to talk about that. But yeah, it was
man.
great.
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about basketball, man, as well. And we got a lot to talk about this morning. Speaking of basketball, the Nike EYBL Session 4 is in KC this weekend. 4 days of some top basketball prospects from around the country and their AAU teams are playing at Javi Arena. They're playing down there, and they've been playing since Thursday night. I'm excited, man. It's huge for Kansas City. First time that the EYBL and Nike has chosen Kansas City as one of their host sites. So we're going to talk about that coming up in about 5 minutes, and some other stuff that we have lined up on today's show. The Raiders, they hired their first black female president in NFL history. Even though it's the Raiders, we got to congratulate them on that. Former Broncos, Demarius Thomas, suffered from CTE. We'll dive into that. That's some AFC news for you. Some AFC West news, as a matter of fact. And also, Kevin Durant produces a new Showtime NYC Point Guards documentary, and that's going to be airing on Showtime coming up when I think it's on the 29th of this month. So we have all that. Plus, coming up in about 30 minutes, we'll have our sneakers of the week during our Hater to Love It segment. Let's get to today's headlines.
And now, here are the biggest sports headlines from this week. We bring them to you every Saturday morning on the W with Walls and the crew on 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
A lot of hoops recruiting elites are competing in Kansas City for the EYBL Kansas City event happening this weekend inside of the Hy-Vee Arena. It's a lot going on down at Hy-Vee Arena, and it's a good look for Kansas City, man. I know you were down there for a couple of the games. There's some highly touted high school and AAU players, many of them with Kansas on their list of prospective colleges. And they're showcasing their skills during the fourth session of the Nike EYBL series, which is going on through Thursday. Two of the top college prospects are playing for MoKan, which is a local-based AAU team, which is on the Nike circuit. Omaha Baloo and John Bowe, who are players for MoKan, and on that program, they've had a lot of players come through that team. Ochai Baji, Christian Brown, Kendall Brown, Trevor Hudgens, and Kennedy Chandler, who were all selected in the past this earlier last month's NBA draft. Noah, what did you think about some of the games that you saw so far?
I was highly impressed with the level of basketball these young men were playing. I have to say, I'm used to, honestly, bad basketball being played by, younger kids. Cause, they're still growing and there were some mistakes made, but I was really impressed with the poise that a lot of these kids played with. There wasn't a whole lot of up and down, turnover. It was like very much, all right, we're going to run offense. We're going to get the ball to our best players. We're going to make smart decisions. And I was very impressed with multiple guys that I saw. So I'm really looking forward to watching more. I'm definitely going to attend tomorrow when the championships are. I want to see who the best of the best is. So that'll be exciting. But yeah, I was very impressed.
Yeah, man, I was impressed as well. And one of the players that most of Kansas City and surrounding areas wanted to see is Bronny James, son of LeBron James. He's playing with his AAU team in the 17s in the EYBL tournament this weekend, and a lot of people wanted to see some highlights from Bronny, but folks don't understand that's not the player that he is. We got a chance to check him out on Thursday night and also last night. Thursday, you could tell he was just trying to get in the groove. He really wasn't too aggressive yesterday. Their game went to overtime. They played against Bradley Beal Elite, and very good game. Bradley Beal Elite has two of the highly recruited ranked players in the country, and you could just tell they were a lot more physical than Bronny's team. But I mean, Bronny didn't shy away from it at all.
No, he's definitely. I think people kind of you're either on the two sides of the spectrum when it comes to Bronny. Either you're hyping him up to be LeBron James himself, or you're completely underselling his game.
Right.
And I think Bronny is right. He's right in the middle, and he's only going to get better. He's about a 6'4" point guard. He still might grow, but I think, like I said earlier, what I like the most about him is his ability to be poised. Like he is the point guard, so he and everybody's going at him. You have to know that that's his name. His name is literally LeBron James Jr. So that everybody, like when we watched them play the Seattle Rotary, you could tell that they were just, you know what, we're gonna low bro you. Like we're all older than you, we're bigger than you, we know who you are, so we're gonna seek you out. And so, but he's not running from the smoke. And that's the most important part about being a basketball player on that level is like people are going to seek you out. They want to know what you're about. Like, how good are you actually? And so that's the thing I like about him is he didn't shy away. He's very poised. And like you said, he was aggressive yesterday. So that'll bode well going forward.
It was, and you mentioned guys going at him. They understand, like everyone's. So you had, and just to paint a picture real quick, there's 8 courts at the Hy-Vee Arena, upstairs and downstairs, 4 on each level, and the bottom floor is where the 17s play, which are the older teams going to be seniors, graduating in 2023, and so Bronny is on that level, the 17s. He'll graduate next year, and so. You have a lot of kids, some of the highly ranked, we talked about it a little bit earlier, but some of the highly ranked kids that are going to Kansas, that are going to the Kentuckys, the Dukes, all those coaches, North Carolina, all those coaches were there. And they played on court 2. On court 1, you had Mocan, which is the number 1 ranked team in the EYBL for 17s. And so you have like 3 or 4 players that are going to top schools, future NBA draft picks. Everybody understands that, but everybody was over on the court watching Bronny play. You had on the other court, you had some of the top, other ranked kids going to KU, going to the big schools. Nobody was there watching those kids. They were all there watching Bronny play. So it just goes to show you the level of respect that Bronny gets, not only from kids, but you had grown men there watching Bronny. And I'm not going to lie, I was there. I wanted to see Bronny. I mean, I wanted to see what is on, because everything is on social media. You get to see a lot. And so I wanted to see, what he had to offer. And I think for the most part, like I said, on Thursday, you can tell he wasn't very aggressive. Yesterday's game, and I don't know if it was more crowd there yesterday, which it was, but I don't know if that was the reason that he showed a lot more poise and a lot more aggressiveness. But I was sitting next to one of his starting big man on that team, and I was sitting next to his dad, and I asked him, I said, well, how do these kids, man, how do you prepare these kids mentally for what they're going through? And he's like, man, it was kids screaming, Bronny, 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 shake my hand, give me an autograph, Bronny. It was crazy. And so their AAU team has to have literally 10 security guards, like private security hired by Nike to watch over their team. Like they don't Like coming to, you know how most kids come in the gym, most AAU teams come in the gym, they kind of hang out, they watch the game before their game. No, they get right off the bus, come into the gym, take off their warm-ups, play, throw their warm-ups back on, get right back on the bus. Like there's no fraternization with any of those kids. It's really weird, and it's something to see though for 17, 16, 17-year-old kids to have to, you know, be in the limelight like that. And his dad was just like, hey, we prepare him, like we just have to. That's something they understand, like, hey, everybody, you're gonna, like Noah said, you're gonna get everyone's best, and you can just tell.
Agreed. Yeah, I'm really looking forward to tomorrow though. I want to see who the cream, you know, is always going to rise to the top. So I want to see who is actually bad. Like, not saying that Bronny isn't bad, but I feel like they're players that we just don't know about that are gonna actually players that, you know, people don't know about in general, because, you know, we do know, we have the list. ESPN has the list, Rivals, they have these lists, but you always want to see those players who aren't heralded yet. Like nobody really knows who they are. They could be a, you know, 7th, 8th man off the bench, but then when it comes to this, you know, championships, and then you got coaches like John Calipari and all of these guys just sitting there watching you, your game like rises to another level. I want to see who those kids are, because those are the truly ones that are going to go to the league and make a huge impact. They're like the gamers, you know, the guys that like, they're like, you know, they don't particularly shine in practice. But they just grind. And then when it comes to the big games, that they step up. Mm-hmm. So I want to see those kids. So I'm really excited. This is fun for me.
Yeah, and it was a number of those kids there too, man. It's crazy to see, and I talked to a few people just, you know, from around the area that grew up in the same era as Q and I, and it wasn't this big, you know.
Not at all.
And the Nike circuit, and of course they have other shoe circuits with Adidas and Under Armour, but it wasn't this big. And social media has hyped all of these kids up, and they have to perform. Like they do. And so you would see, you mentioned that all the top coaches that are Nike schools, all of those coaches were there, from the Kentuckys to Dukes to North Carolina, Nike Jordan brand schools. They were all there, and they're all here in Kansas City for this weekend. So it's huge for the city, and I'm glad to see a huge turnout. And I think today will be even bigger. All right, so the Las Vegas Raiders hired the first Black female president in NFL history. So the Las Vegas Raiders, grappling with allegations of hostile work environment, named Sandra Douglas Morgan to be the team's president, making her the first Black woman to hold that position in the National Football League. So Morgan, if you guys don't know, she's known for a number of firsts in her career. She was the first person of color to serve as a chair of the Nevada Gaming Control Board and the first African city attorney in Nevada. And so she's a Las Vegas native. She also served as a litigation attorney at Covington, Burling, and LLP. What do you guys think about that?
I mean, it's a huge step, not only for the NFL, but for the Raiders, and especially with their more recent past. Last season and in the last couple of seasons, and employing John Gruden. I don't know. It seems like a PR campaign for the Raiders the last couple of weeks, and then I feel like we'll start to see the same with not the Redskins, the Commanders here soon. But it's a big step. It's a big step that needs to be taken, and I'm glad there was a team that really stepped out there and took the chance, even if it is like a PR cleanup type of thing. But I wish her the best, because hopefully we can get more diversity in front offices in the NFL.
I agree. And she's only 38 years old. So when I look and I see a lot of what the NFL is trying to do, they're trying to trend younger. They're trying to get away from I'm just call it like it is, the older white man that is controlling these front offices. And rightfully so. They've gone through a lot of turmoil as far as race goes, and within the past, of course it's been since the inception of the league, but within the past 5 to 10 years, it's been very heightened, right? And so I think now they're going to what's right and what makes the most sense. And frankly, I mean, Black folks do a good job. So, I mean, you have all of these Black players that are playing. Why not get someone who looks like them that they're able to go and feel comfortable with on that team?
No, I agree. I think it's like you guys said, it's trending the right direction. And as per usual, the Raiders are the ones that are kind of leading this diversity. I mean, if anybody's doing any sort of diversity, anything in the NFL, it's typically the Raiders that are first. And I think they should be commended for the fact that Mark Davis should be commended for the fact that he's the one that's kind of putting this into play. I mean, of course, we had the John Gruden incident, which we all know that's not just a singular incident in the NFL. We all know that that's a part of a bigger picture. But I think it says something about the Raiders that they got rid of him as quickly as they did, and then they
had a choice, though.
Yeah,
they didn't have a choice, but they got rid of him. Action has to come. I mean, so I commend the Raiders for, being a beacon, a small beacon of hope in an NFL that is dominated by the same kind of person, even if the on-field product doesn't quite look like that. And I'm also very proud of her for stepping into this position because she doesn't have a background in football per se. Not a lot of women do, but I would say for her, this is a big step. She has a chance to make a big splash and let the rest of NFL put them on notice that, look, this is a job that I can do. And other people who look like me, who are like me, women, we'll just say, can also do this job. And I think that's a huge deal when it comes to the NFL, because the NFL has their problems when it comes to diversity. So I'm very proud of her. I think this is supremely dope.
And another huge deal when it comes to the NFL is former Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas has suffered from CTE. So former Broncos wide receiver Demaryius Thomas suffered from CTE, a chronic degenerative brain disease. That's according to researchers from the Concussion Legacy Foundation at Boston University. So Thomas died last December, if you guys remember. And the official cause of his death has still not been officially determined, but his family donated his brain for study to the Boston University Legacy Foundation. And so they said that he had CTE in his brain. And so he had, plenty of seizures. No one really talked about that in back in 2019, and one of those seizures caused a car crash, his fatal car crash in 2019. And so we right now, we really don't know what the NFL is going to do, because you hear more and more of these stories. Seems like you're getting the names keep piling up each and every year. Hear about more NFL players, whether it's suicide, whether it's sudden death. A lot of those things are piling up, and we're right now the NFL is kind of behind an 8-ball, and they need to get in front of it.
I think this just shows the decades of damage that football has done on the brains of young men, and it's sad to see, because it's hard to excuse the racism that Black people face in medicine, and being underdiagnosed. And the NFL is one of those leagues that has perpetrated that, especially as recent as last year in race norming. And you hate it for these players. yes, people say they make tons of money, and they have insane amounts of wealth, but none of that matters if your body can't function, and is being destroyed by a sport, and especially by a sport that's owned by people that don't care about you. Um, and that's the tough thing to digest as a football fan, um, because those at the top just seem like they don't care. Uh, but the NFL again still has strides to make, and they made a big step by actually admitting wrong, even though they were forced to. Um, but even still, there's a lot of ground really to be made in the cases of concussions. I mean, we even saw Patrick Mahomes 2 years ago almost black out on the field, and then he was back on the field the next game. Um, and yes, he was cleared, but again, blacking out and concussions are a really serious thing, and they deteriorate the brain over time. Um, and you just, as a fan, you would hope there was some solution to come, but it doesn't seem like there's going to be one to come, and we're going to be hearing about these cases from former and current players for a while.
And folks don't know, CTE has more of an association with memory problems as well as personality and behavior changes. And Thomas's family, they say that he definitely shows signs of symptoms of particularly anxiety and paranoia, and at times would isolate himself from other people. So, if there's signs of that, I think the NFL, they, like I said, should be in front of it. You should be when you so when folks retire from any league or not any league, but from jobs, right? You get a benefits package that you retire with for life. And I think a part of the NFL's package should be, and I don't know if they have it or not, but a part of their package when someone either, stops playing football for whatever reason or they retire, they should have a part of that package be, we're going to get you some help for CTE. You may not have it, you may not show signs of it, but we're going to be there to make sure, and it should be some of the top health care that you could have, because it's a very violent sport. And so, getting in front of it, but right now they're behind.
I mean, I think when we talk about football, when we're talking about it, let's say 20, 30 years ago, it was a gladiator sport. It was this, it was blood sport. And then now I think when people talk about football, it's kind of like they're uneasy about it. You don't see it as quite the glamour sport that it was. It's like, and it's due to all of these cases of these men post career, and they're suffering from all of these things due to CTE, and they're dying. They're legitimately dying earlier than they should. So I think the NFL they have a huge problem when it comes to this, because I don't think it's quite come to a head yet. I think it's probably going to get worse before it gets better, because this is what football is based off of. Football is based off of hitting another human, ramming your 260-pound body into somebody else. And you can go helmet to helmet. You can hit your head on the ground. You can do all sorts of whiplash, like all sorts of things can happen to your brain, encased in this plastic, whatever you want to call it. And it's just dangerous. It's just purely dangerous. You don't see this in any other sport. Basketball, which is pretty physical sport, you don't see this happen. Baseball, of course not. The cases as far as the NHL goes is not as high as football, and it's just bad all around when it comes to this. And it's heartbreaking, like Steve alluded to when they were talking about, Demaryius Thomas in his last days. He was going around saying, I don't feel like myself, like I don't feel good, like something's off. And that's just terrible to hear of a man who's in his early 30s. There's no way that should be normal, but it is. and it's going to continue to happen. So the NFL probably needs to do a little bit more as far as getting ahead of it. But I do think it's going to get worse before it gets better.
Yeah, definitely. And this is this is a situation that, like, it even affects me some, because I talk on our production meetings pretty frequently, especially when CTE comes up, about the concussions I had suffered from in high school. And ultimately my last game playing, I blacked out. And yes, those symptoms are real. Do I suffer from CTE? I don't know. But I'm sure there are several young men outside of the NFL that did grow up playing the game that do suffer from CTE and just not know it. So again, it's a huge problem that just it needs to be confronted by the NFL, and they need to attack it from a science standpoint, to somehow to keep these players healthy as possible.
I agree. And
To that point,
you mentioned real quick. You mentioned the young kids that haven't made it to the NFL. That's another reason why NIL deals are so important in college, especially for college football, because you're going to have all these kids that don't make it to the NFL that have still suffered from various brain, collisions, right? Head collisions. And so at least they're getting, and I know it's not always about the money, but at least they're getting something, for the collisions and the injuries that have taken place over the course of time for their body within that 4-year time frame.
Think about that. Think about those people who saying those kids didn't deserve to get paid, and they put their bodies through all of that for at least 3 years. You have to, and you're talking about
they got paid for with an education.
They got paid with an education. You have to be kidding me, bro. Right. Every time I hear that argument, it's so asinine. So, but yeah, this needs to stop for real.
Yeah. All right. The Sharks, San Jose Sharks, that is, they hired Mike Grier as the NHL's first ever Black general manager. So the San Jose Sharks have named former NHL forward Mike Grier as the team's next GM. Grier becomes the first Black general manager in NHL history after San Jose made it official on Tuesday afternoon with a special video message from the man himself. Let's hear his announcement.
Hi, Sharks fans. It's Mike Grier. I'm your new GM. Really excited to get to work and be back in the Bay Area. I know there's been lots of ups and downs, but I'm ready to work hard and get at it and get this thing back on the tracks. We're going to start winning some games in the Shark Tank and get it going again. See you soon.
I think that's another big deal, another huge deal. You see, first Black GM. Really cool, really cool.
I'm
definitely.
Really, I mean, go ahead.
No.
Oh no, you got it.
Yeah, Noah was gonna say he's not really familiar. I think this is another one of those dying sports, like the NFL. Not dying like like baseball. But this is another sport that could use some diversity, not only on the ice but in the front offices. So I mean, you're starting to see some leagues take steps. You hate to say that it's them taking chances, because it's not them taking chances. I mean, the talent is there, but it's definitely good to see some steps are being taken to actually diversify these front offices from league to league.
All right, another huge announcement from Kevin Durant. We talk about him in the slightly negative light the past few weeks, but here's some positive stuff. KD produces the new Showtime NYC Point Guys documentary on Showtime. So the Showtime sports documentary films announced Thursday that their latest documentary, in a collaboration with NBA superstar Kevin Durant and business partner Rich Kleiman's boardroom, focused on the enduring legacy of New York's iconic point guards of the 1980s and early 90s. So the New York documentary NYC Point Guards premieres Friday, July 29th at 9 p.m. Eastern time. I'm loving it, especially because the doc focuses on the players and the style that's emerged out of New York City in the 80s, which came to inspire the style of play across the nation, right? You had that East Coast hip hop vibe Mark Jackson, Stephon Marbury. You guys remember God, Shem God. Also
Kenny Anderson,
Kenny Smith, Rod Strickland, Rayford Austin, all those guys, historic point guards out of New York City.
Mm-hmm. No, I think it's dope. I think it's these documentaries telling these stories about this is history. This is basketball history. There was a time when everybody wanted to do the fancy crossover, the behind the back pass. And it's funny because it wasn't necessarily like good basketball per se, but it got the crowd involved. It made it a moment. It made it like the culture. That was a part of it. And I think it's a huge part of the story that needs to be told. And I think for Kevin Durant, for all his pitfalls that people like to, talk about, I think one dope thing about him is he is 100% about basketball and in its entirety, whether it's actually the on-the-court product, working on his game, whether it's telling the story of basketball, whether, actual NBA history.
Yeah.
He's all about it. And I think he's a purist in this art form of basketball. I think he loves it to death. And I think he's going to continue to push things out like this. And I would love to see more from him because I think he has a huge eye for this.
And his business acumen is phenomenal too. I mentioned his partner, Rich Kleiman, and they created Boardroom. And I feel like it's similar to LeBron James. He has the media type of business. And of course, he has plenty others, but his media brand, Boardroom, I mean, they've taken off once it hit the ground back in, I think it was 2017. They've taken off running. I mean, they have Overtime, which is one of the biggest, highlight company brands that sends, basketball athletes, of course. Now they're branding in some like football and other highlights, but it sends social media crazy when they post videos. And so I think just the branding aspect of it from Boardroom is super dope.
Yeah, no, I love it because you talk about LeBron and him really being the blueprint for a lot of players that want to do things outside of basketball and really get other businesses off the ground. And KD is following that, and he has the money to do it. And definitely has the investors to do it with his 35 Ventures program. So yeah, he's doing a lot to build his media company, but again, it's also putting money into the hands of a lot of Black businesses and small business owners that could use the transfer of wealth in exchange for the talents and the different products that they can produce.
Agreed. We're going to take a quick break. Coming up, we will discuss Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi on the cover of WNBA 2K23 WNBA edition.
Yeah.
And this is the W Show. We'll be right back.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Come spin with us, Kansas City. KC WeSpin 360 is the coolest 360 video spinner experience for events. KC WeSpin 360 is taking it to the next level. The 360 video spinner platform rental will be the life of the party. Everyone will be talking about their 360 video experience while bragging about it on their social media pages. The captivating slow motion and reverse effects will have your guests feeling like celebrities. The KC WeSpin 360 video spinner can capture slow-mo videos, GIFs, and boomerangs from every angle. Specializing in corporate events, weddings, social gatherings, bar bat mitzvahs, school events, and fundraisers, KC WeSpin 360 can be found online at kcwespin360.com. Come spin with us, Kansas City.
Don't be depressed, frustrated, or stressed because of the loss of a loved one. Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services is here to assist you with a smooth, stress-free transition. It doesn't matter how your loved one transitioned, we will offer you a memorable celebration to your liking. We are a family-friendly, full-service funeral home right here in the heart of the city, offering affordable cremations and package pricing and quality service. Call us when you need us. 816-231-GATE. That's 816-231-4283. There's only one Golden Gate, located at 2800 East 18th Street, Kansas City, Missouri. Exchanging your grief for a golden experience.
Are you ready to take your gaming experience to the next level? Max Adrenaline Mobile Video Gaming is here to offer the best mobile entertainment that includes video games, laser tag, and karaoke. Our mobile video game theater offers a 33-foot climate-controlled luxury RV with 5 gaming stations, and we can accommodate up to 20 players at once. Are you looking for entertainment at your next event? Well, look no further. We'll come to you. Specializing in birthday parties for all ages, sports events, team building, corporate events, school functions, holiday parties, and more. We're here when you need us at 816-897-0509 or maxadrenalinekc.com.
Remember to interact with our show. Use hashtag talk about it. Message us on any of our social media platforms and also our text messaging feed. And we'll talk about whatever topic you want. All right. Sue Bird, Diana Taurasi on cover of NBA 2K23 WNBA edition. So Sue Bird and Diana Taurasi have been linked for more than 2 decades, playing together at UConn, then helping the U.S. Women's Olympic team. They won, I believe, 5 gold medals with that team, and now
every single one possible.
And now they'll be appearing on the cover of NBA 2K23 WNBA edition. So the video game that will be released on September 9th. You guys' thoughts on that?
That's dope. There's nothing else to say. That's dope. I'm glad that they decided to pay homage to these 2 ladies because they're at the back ends of their careers. They've had great, careers, and retirement is soon. I believe Sue Bird said that this is definitely her last season. And Diana Taurasi is probably going to be a little bit more complicated because she just seems so addicted to the game that she doesn't want to put it down.
Right.
So she has not announced her retirement. But I think it's dope that 2K decided to honor these 2 legends. In addition to last year or 2 years ago, I believe, when Candace Parker was on the cover. So I think this is a dope part of 2K that they've decided to add. Now, if they could just clean up some other things, 2K would be perfect.
Yeah. Hey, but they do a wasn't it? Isn't it? Don't they both do the podcast together?
I've seen them featured on some. I don't know if they have one themselves.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
Thought they did. All right. Well, shout out to them. Also, shout out to Baker Mayfield, as he was traded to the Panthers for a 2024 conditional 5th-round draft pick. So the Browns have traded quarterback Baker Mayfield to the Panthers for the 2024 conditional 5th-round draft pick, which the team announced on Wednesday. So he was set to make $18.86 million this season on a contract that was held up in trade discussions. So Cleveland will pay $10.5 million of Baker's contract, and Carolina will pay the other $5 million. Baker agreed to trim the rest of his salary. I think this is a good move, honestly, for Baker Mayfield to get out of Cleveland. They brought in Deshaun Watson, and so there's no reason for him to still continue to want to be there. The fans seemingly wanted him out. And so, this is a good move. I think now he is able to go to another team and start fresh. And a lot of folks will say, oh, well, Baker this, Baker that. I think in a new system, he'll be fine. Remember, he did after Odell Beckham Jr. Was injured last season. He was able to take the team to the playoffs. He was able to do that. And so I feel like, they will play the Browns week 1, I believe. The Panthers.
They didn't make the playoffs.
Yeah. The Browns year before, not last year, but year before. But the Browns will play the Panthers week 1, and I'm ready for that game. I am. You're gonna get classic Baker Mayfield, and
I think so
in
too.
those games,
if he starts,
he's gonna start.
Yeah,
I don't think we need to like go any further with the Sam Darnold over Baker Mayfield takes, unless Baker Mayfield is still injured from last year, which I don't believe he is. He'll start week 1. He's beating Sam Darnold in a QB competition. I refuse. I refuse.
Okay.
Yeah, I feel like he's gonna start week 1 too. I do. I mean,
it would be in their best interest. I feel like if Carolina wouldn't have made this move, if they didn't want and I hate to, down Sam Darnold because he hasn't really got he's gotten a couple chances, but I think Sam Darnold is a very good backup quarterback. I think Baker Mayfield is an actual starting quarterback.
Yeah, and I mean, Sam Darnold is who the dying quarterback is, the dying style of play of quarterback. And Baker Mayfield is a little bit of the modernized version of the quarterback that's not necessarily standing in the pocket, but I don't know. I think Sam Darnold's arm and height it can really be what pushes him over the edge of being the starter. And Baker, I think, is one of those guys. He has like flashes of Brett Favre. Like you like to see the feistiness, you like to see him improvise, but when have we seen a Baker Mayfield highlight that was wowing, that was stunning, that was when has Baker Mayfield done that? And I think this is his opportunity to show that. If you can't beat out Sam Darnold, if you can't take a decent franchise like the Carolina Panthers to a new height, at least in winning over 500, something in that realm, maybe being a contender in your division, which is a stretch, but I don't know. I'm just not sold on it, and I need to see Baker Mayfield, and he did step up 2 seasons ago.
Gary said they're paying Sam Darnold QB money just to bench him. Not sure about this one. I mean, they can always move Sam Darnold. They possibly
and
could,
that's what
throughout each and every NFL season, there's always a quarterback that goes down, and they could possibly move him for another piece. That of course they're going to showcase both in preseason. But I feel like Baker is going to be the one that wins out in the end. Under pressure situations, Baker just shows up.
I do agree with that.
When his back is against the wall, he shows up. Now going forward, after that, his back against the wall, once he has the job solidified, that's a whole another answer.
That's a learning experience, though. I think what he went through in Cleveland was a learning experience because I think we need to say this. Before Baker Mayfield, guess who was only winning 1 game in 2 seasons? Let me say that one more time. 1 game, 2 seasons. That's 1 in, what is that? Let's see. Let's do the math here. 16 and 16. That's 32. 1 in 31 in 2 seasons before Baker Mayfield.
33, because last year we added a week.
No. I'm saying
prior to that.
Prior to that,
Baker,
it was still 16 game. Yeah, they only won, like I said, they only won 1 game, and then first season he breaks the rookie record for touchdowns, and then he takes them to the playoffs. So I think Baker just needs Baker is a quarterback who needs stuff around him. He probably needs more than your Aaron Rodgers, your Patrick Mahomes. He needs more than that, but he isn't a Sam Darnold. I think we need to just cut that out. He isn't a Sam Darnold. He is a talented quarterback, and he has a chip on his shoulder. Now it's personal. Now, I have to go out and prove it just to, y'all were putting smut on my name. I have to go out and prove it now. So I'm a believer in Baker this year. I'm a believer in Baker. Last year I wasn't, and this year I am.
And you could say the Jets failed Sam Darnold by not putting pieces around him. I mean, he had no pieces. So again, you don't know. And this is again, this type of competition, especially quarterback competition, and there not being a clear-cut starter, this is where you see, like Noah said earlier, you see that cream rise to the top, and I don't know if that's Baker at this point.
All right, the WWE's Vince McMahon paid $12 million in hush money to multiple women, a report says. So, former WWE chief executive Vince McMahon paid more than $12 million to 4 women to cover up allegations of sexual misconduct and infidelity, according to the Wall Street Journal report. So, women of whom were involved with WWE signed agreements with McMahon that prohibit them from discussing potential legal claims against all of their relationships with the 76-year-old executive. The report of hush money, which the journal said was paid over 16 years, is the latest part of the corporate firestorm for McMahon.
So
70. Go ahead. No, go ahead.
I have something to say, and Broderick's gonna hate me for this. I don't like wrestling, and I don't keep up with wrestling, but please understand that who is surprised at this happening, because I barely know who Vince McMahon was. I knew his face, and I knew he was like the head of like wrestling professionally.
Yeah.
Doesn't he just look like somebody who would pay hush money to people over such allegations? If we just cut to his face, we're like, who's surprised? I always thought that he was I was very uneasy about him when I saw him. So I'm like not surprised at this at all. But wow, 16 years, $12 million. That's impressive, sir. We haven't heard a story like this in a minute.
Yeah, and think about it. Go ahead, no. I mean, Q.
Yeah, I was gonna say we've heard of it recently because Daniel Snyder had a lot going on that he's being investigated for now. So yeah, you look at these guys at the top that have the control and have the money. This is the things that they do with their money, and it doesn't help anyone. But 76 years old, and you're using your money for this. That's a waste of a life.
Yeah, man. It's the thing about it is that the women that have accused him of this sexual misconduct, and they didn't even say if they were all women. So the people that have accused him of this sexual misconduct, I hope that they mentally, or first of all, are okay, and then second of all, now that he's had them sign this deal, and this report is just now coming out, but now that it's coming out, hopefully some light can be shed on, the WWE, and I'm sure if there was that, there was more, right? There's not just going to be 4. That was just the ones that came out and said something. So now I think there's going to be a firestorm of more people that are going to get on that train. It's like, what? $12 million. Oh, okay. I need some money. So now you're going to see more people coming out just because of this report.
Yeah. He's sleazy. He just looks sleazy, man. I promise you he does.
Yeah. All right. We're going to take another quick break. Coming up, we'll have our Hated or Love It segment and kick it off with our sneakers of the week. This is the W Show.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Are you not entertained? Are you not entertained? Is this not why you are here?
Come spin with us, Kansas City. KC WeSpin 360 is the coolest 360 video spinner experience for events. KC WeSpin 360 is taking it to the next level. The 360 video spinner platform rental will be the life of the party. Everyone will be talking about their 360 video experience while bragging about it on their social media pages. The captivating slow motion and reverse effects will have your guests feeling like celebrities. The KC WeSpin 360 video spinner can capture slow-mo videos, GIFs, and boomerangs from every angle. Specializing in corporate events, weddings, social gatherings, bar bat mitzvahs, school events, and fundraisers, KC WeSpin 360 can be found online at kcwespin360.com. Come spin with us, Kansas City.
Don't be depressed. Frustrated or stressed because of the loss of a loved one? Golden Gate Funeral and Cremation Services is here to assist you with a smooth, stress-free transition. It doesn't matter how your loved one transitioned, we will offer you a memorable celebration to your liking. We are a family-friendly, full-service funeral home right here in the heart of the city, offering affordable cremations and package pricing and quality service. Call us when you need us. 816-231-GATE. That's 816-231-4283. There's only one Golden Gate, located at 2800 East 18th Street, Kansas City, Missouri. Exchanging your grief for a golden experience.
Are you ready to take your gaming experience to the next level? Max Adrenaline Mobile Video Gaming is here to offer the best mobile entertainment that includes video games, laser tag, and karaoke. Our mobile video game theater offers a 33-foot climate-controlled luxury RV with 5 gaming stations, and we can accommodate up to 20 players at once. Are you looking for entertainment at your next event? Well, look no further. We'll come to you. Specializing in birthday parties for all ages, sports events, team building, corporate events, school functions, holiday parties, and more. We're here when you need us at 816-897-0509 or maxadrenalinekc.com.
You're tuned in to the W with Walls and the Crew, where winning isn't everything. It's the only thing. On 100.1 FM and Facebook Live.
Remember to interact with our show. Use hashtag talk about it, message us, and we will talk about any topic that you want.
It's that time for Love It or Hate It.
Hate it.
If we love it, we talk about it. If we hate it, we move on.
All right, our sneakers of the week for this week. The Nike Dunk Gray Sale. You guys feeling these?
Yeah. I like them.
I like them too.
I like the simplicity.
Really like these. Yeah. All right, the Nike Dunk Low, Lisa Leslie's.
These are my favorites. Definitely.
So there was a report that came out that said Lisa Leslie, Nike came out with these shoes. Lisa Leslie wears like a size 14 in women, and these only go up to a size 11. So it's kind of weird, like that they didn't make these. Yeah, it was great.
I mean, I'm sure obviously she has her own.
Yeah.
It's still that is
crazy,
strange. Because they probably didn't want to make any they're trying to stay away from the men's sizing, I think, kind of what the deal is with that.
Yeah.
So if you're 14 there, you're a 12 and a half or something in men's. So.
Yeah. All right, the Nocta and Nike Hot Step Air Terra. You guys feeling these? The Drakes
hot garbage
shoes.
Probably the worst ones we've had of the year.
Yeah.
Oh man,
I don't like these. Not at all. The ones I do like are the Air Jordan Mid Light Smoke Gray. These are fire.
It's a cool color.
These are cool.
Not a mid guy, but still a Jordan 1.
All right. For the first time ever, the NBA will hand out rings to the Summer League champions. Hate it or love it.
Pointless. Just give them the T-shirts and the hats and, whatever.
Some of these guys who don't make the team on those championship teams can sell those for a good $20,000.
That's so silly. That's so silly.
I mean, hey. All right. The Penguins, Otters, reject cheaper food options as inflation hits Japan aquarium. Let's see the video of this. All right, so you guys see the lady that's trying to feed the penguins. She'll also try to feed the otters, and they don't like the cheaper food options. Go figure.
Nah.
Who does? They're like, nope. I'm not feeling that.
I'm gonna turn my head. I turn my nose up at this. I turn my beak up at this.
Look at the otter. He's like, nah, fam.
Go.
I don't want. I don't want to fool with that.
Yeah, this one.
He's like, nah, I'm not fooling with that. What else you got? Man, that was funny. All right, Grambling State fires volleyball coach who cut the whole team after taking a job. Hater or love it.
I called this. I knew it was going to happen. People were going to get in a tiff. My bad. A tiff about this.
So within 3 months of hiring her at Grambling State, women's volleyball coach Chelsea Lucas was making headlines. She had drawn getting tired of the athletes and their parents and alumni after dropping all 19 players from her roster. Grambling State, whose administration initially supported Lucas' accusations, and they announced Tuesday that it fired the head coach, the first-year head coach, amid ongoing investigation into her decision. I mean,
unserious.
Yeah,
it's like that.
Unserious.
Yeah,
the whole all around.
I hate it for the players and the organization, and I also hate it for her because it's like, what? But okay,
yeah. Had she won, made a tournament last season, I think they would have kept her. But yeah, she was
she
well under
just got there.
Well under 500.
She did. I mean, I thought she just got there.
Yeah, but you can't get the whole team. You got to keep at least one. Got to keep at least one.
It does suck.
The Green Bay Packers QB Aaron Rodgers shows off his elaborate new tattoo. So Aaron Rodgers has a new tattoo. And yeah, it's supposed to be on his left forearm. It was created by a Hungarian tattoo artist. And he said there's a deep and meaningful story and connection to absolutely each element of this art piece. And I'll share a little bit more about it one day. Y'all like this? I do.
FOH.
I mean, he skipped the jab to get jabbed a couple of thousand times. I mean,
yeah.
I thought he was scared of needles.
Yeah. Look. He
Exactly.
has the face of a liar.
All right, so Bradley Beal's new deal with the Wizards makes him the only active NBA player with a no trade clause per report. Hate it or love it.
Get your generational wealth, black man.
Exactly. So Beal becomes the 10th player ever to have a full no trade clause for a 5-year, $251 million contract.
Mm-hmm. Winning rings is
go get that bag.
Anyway.
Exactly.
Yeah, get that bag, man.
Hey, exactly.
Go get that bag.
So speaking of bags, a waitress got a bag over the weekend. So a waitress freaks out after learning Ja Morant left her a tip for $500. Let's see what happened.
Did you see it right? Yeah. Who are you though?
It's Black Jesus.
You who?
Black Jesus.
Now you some kind of professional. You play football, basketball, or something?
Basketball.
What school you went to?
I'm not from here.
You're not? Where you from?
South Carolina.
Okay. Where you going? So you play basketball?
Yeah.
You finna go to the NBA?
I'm already in there.
Who are you playing for?
The Grizzlies. Your new favorite team. Your new favorite team, the Grizzlies.
That's the team that boy played, Jari.
That's him.
That's him? You that boy that?
You that boy. Yeah.
What's your name?
Ja Morant. You forgot it, right? Andrew, you forgot the tip.
That's cool, man. That's cool. She said, "You that boy, you that boy." He's like, "Yeah, that's that boy."
That's everybody auntie right there. That's somebody auntie. Nah, you that boy that playing that basketball, don't you? I know who you are.
Love it for.
All right, so Japan's Nippon Ham Fighters are building a $530 million stadium city that will include 35,000 seats, high-rise apartments, villas, an event daycare, mini ballpark for kids, and what we care most about is a craft beer garden. Hate it or love it.
Yeah, I mean, I love it, and this is where all these new stadiums, the directions these new stadiums are trying to go, especially in America.
Yeah,
it won't be for baseball. I'm gonna tell you that much. It'll be for football before it's for anything. Because we do not care about baseball like that.
All right, one thing we do care about is Drew Lock. Seahawks QB Drew Lock is keeping the PC after being thrown under the bus by U.S. Open on Twitter. So SportsCenter posted a video of the U.S. Open saying this was cold-blooded. A Seahawks fan on Twitter said, "This is not a sport." And so the U.S. Open responded and they said, "Not a sport," says the person about to watch 17 games of Drew Lock at QB. So Drew Lock responded on Twitter and said, "Happy 4th to all, especially the intern at the U.S. Open. American flag crying plays heart 12s." That's funny.
That's a real football fan there.
All right, so Brittany Griner pleads guilty to drug charges in Russian court. So the two-time Olympic U.S. Basketball gold medalist Brittany Griner has pleaded guilty to drug charges on Russian court near Moscow. Her lawyers confirmed to CNN on Thursday. So her lawyers said that they expect the trial to end around the beginning of August.
Mind you, she's in there for enough marijuana to only get a fine.
Yeah, it's something that we need to keep talking about. Definitely something that we need to keep talking about, because more light that's shed on it, I think the more light that she's able to come back to the U.S.
Agreed. I agree 1,000% with that.
All right, another great show, y'all. As always, we appreciate everyone for tuning in. Remember, have fun this weekend. Go down and check out the Hy-Vee Arena. Some good basketball being played by these young kids. Until next week, we are out of here.
Peace.
The views and opinions expressed on the W Radio Show by the host, co-host, guests, and call-in listeners are solely the opinions and responsibility of the original source who expressed them. They do not represent the opinions of the W Show, 100.1 FM, One Kansas City Radio, Sideline Sports Talk, Team Wall Street Foundations, or affiliates.